Sitting in front of me here is the Mars-Hydo SP250, which I did a review for and a grow test with quite a while ago. The links for that will be up here and at the end of the video. Mars-Hydo has recently come out with the SP3000, which looks almost identical to this light, but they've made a few upgrades, and I am very impressed with it. So we're going to talk about that coming up. So right now, I actually have two of these SP3000 lights set up in a 4x4 grow tent, and that's actually where I did the testing on them to calculate their efficiency, as well as where I'm going to be having a grow in an upcoming video, which will be part 2 of this video. I'm going to talk more about that at the end of this video, but if you're interested in seeing how well these lights actually grow plants, make sure you stay tuned or subscribe. So now I want to talk about some of the upgrades I made here from the SP250 to the SP3000, because there's a couple of them. But I'm going to start off with the efficiency because that's right around the same at 2.1 micromoles per joule or per watt. That is still nothing to complain about. That is a very efficient light, and that is right up there with the high-end lights on the market. So if you're looking for a good value with efficiency alone, that has my approval. So the power draw from the SP3000 is a little bit more at 294 watts at the wall, and that's because they added a larger mean well driver versus the SP250, and they added about 250 more chips. Now the chips that they use is actually an upgrade from the SP250. They were using Epistar chips in the SP250, and they upgraded to the Samsung LM301Bs, so highly efficient chips. There's some complaints about not having enough red light on the SP250, and they've also added some more red diodes, which are Osram chips on the SP3000. Those are 660 deep reds. The SP250 had the infrared and UV diodes, and the SP3000 is using those same diodes as well. So if you think the UV light's going to help you or the IR light's going to help you, they still have the chips on the board also. Now, setting up two of these strips side by side in my tent, that's where I was really impressed. I had to hang these lights at 40 inches from the floor to test a usable amount of light, meaning that if I had them any closer, I would be burning out my plants. So at 40 inches, I was testing around the center of the canopy, around 915 micromoles, and out towards the furthest edge and the furthest corner, only about 745 micromoles. So from the middle to the edges, very uniform coverage for two of these lights. That's pretty awesome. I mean, there's no complaints there. And I couldn't believe it when I was actually testing it, because there's not many lights that actually have coverage that's that uniform with that intense of light. So factoring all that in as far as the coverage goes, the wattage, and the price of the light, and the efficiency and all that stuff, you're spending about 60 cents per micromole, which is a very good value for a grow light, which is really impressive. There's not much more I can say about that. If you're interested in a light and you're looking for a good value in a light, I would say go with the SP3000. I also used my infrared thermometer to test how hot the light itself was actually getting, and I was only getting 115 degrees Fahrenheit on average on the light itself. And that is not very warm at all. You can put your hand on that and it's pretty much just warm to the touch. The ballast, however, was getting about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's not really abnormal for a ballast to get hot, but if you have low air circulation in your tent, the ballast does detach from the light, and you can hang it from the top of your tent that way, and you can get better cooling on it that way if that's a problem. So now I want to talk about one of my favorite features they added on the light, and that is the dimmer function. So I'm going to go over to my tent now, and I'm going to show you how the dimmer function actually works. Versus the SP250, this is the final and my favorite feature of the SP3000 versus the SP250. This is a dimmer function, and it's not just any ordinary dimmer function. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second here. The SP250, on the ballasts, the only way you could dim it is if you detach the ballast, turn it upside down, pull the plug out, and adjust the little knobs inside of it with a tiny screwdriver. You do not have to do that with the SP3000s, and they went one step further with this actually. So this dimmer function here, you take a phone cord, you plug it into one channel on this, and you plug it into another channel on that, and you simply turn the switch like this. Obviously the camera's getting really blown out because this is incredibly bright, but it dims both of them at the same time, and you can turn them on or off with one switch from one of them, just like this. And then you can switch that depending on which one you actually want to control all of them with, and you can connect more together. So that is my favorite feature, and I also just love the fact that you can dim it down so much and use less wattage and still get great coverage with this. Now, I promised you at the end of the video I was going to say what I'm going to be growing with this setup here, and that is these here. So these are basically a seedless pickling cucumber, and I chose these because they are fast growing and they don't require any pollination, and I'm going to talk more about that in part 2 of this video. So thanks for watching this video. I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you next time.